We will show you the buckets, and we'll bring you the blocks. And for good measure, another block. And just because we do this all for you, another bucket from downtown. So get ready to compete. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. You ready to compete?
I am.
All right.
I'm a little. The voice is a little rough. We'll see if we can get it back in shape this week. But
I'm sure you
I'm glad
will.
to have you back.
Thank you. Do those vocal exercises you normally. I taught you those.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that means I won't have to talk quite as much this week on Sports Night, which is good. But
we got a lot of mail about that.
Long weekend with a lot of hockey to cheer for, and so it's very exciting. But the voice is a little rough to start the week. So, but we've got some good stuff coming up this week.
No question about. Remember, tea and lemon.
Tea and lemon. Right after the show.
Yeah, gargle with it.
I appreciate your concern.
No problem.
Well, a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We're going to start with the hockey team. The boys hockey team felt pretty good coming into last week's play. They were coming off a big win over Champlain Park, had two very winnable division games on the schedule. On Thursday night, the Cardinals were hosting a winless ACO squad that had only scored multiple goals in 3 of their 13 games to that point in the season. It seemed the perfect situation to continue the Cardinals' midseason charge. Cardinals control most of the first period, but ACO takes advantage of the opportunity on the power play. Hansen makes the initial save, but Micah Beisner pulls it from behind the net, beats him to the far side, puts the Orioles on the board just 3:30 into the first. ACO on the power play again in the second. Morissette fires at the length of the ice. Keeper misplays it low, gives Travis Hess a look at a wide-open net, but he can't get the angle he wants, and the shot goes wide. ACO attacking in the second. Nice little move by Nate Musial. Hansen makes the save. Puck goes up and over him off the crossbar. Fortunately, Cardinals are able to clear. Still 1-0 late in the third. Scrum in the quarter. Carter Compton able to dig it out, send it out front. Sam Dixon there for the one-timer to the back of the net. Orioles up 2-0. Less than 4 minutes left at that point. They add an empty net goal, and they get their first win of the year by handing the Cardinals a 3-0 loss.
Yeah, a tough loss for the Cardinals. They felt coming in, a team that had not won a game. They were playing well in the last few games. An opportunity to get the W. They outshot the Orioles as well.
26-13.
Just could not put the puck in the back of the net.
11-2 in the first period, including a power play where they had 5 or 6 shots on goal, 2 or 3 really good scoring opportunities. Hats off to the ACO keeper who came up with a couple of big saves.
No question.
They also had a couple of near misses where they just fanned on shots, had passes into skates instead of sticks. It was kind of rough from that aspect and a little disappointing. But once it happens, you can't do anything but move on. On Saturday, the Cardinals hoping to stop and get turned around. I guess the Totino team, they felt that they had played pretty well against and given away that 2-1 loss to. Unfortunately, Totino beats them soundly this time, 5-1 the final. Look at the shots on goal. Totino Grace 48 to the Cardinals 22. Ben Johnson in net, made 43 saves, but can't stop them all, and Travis Hess got the only goal. Not enough goal support with this for this team. They've struggled to get goals at times throughout the season. They felt pretty good after the 4 tie against Armstrong, and then the 4-1 win against Champlain Park. And then coming into that week, they had ACO and Totino really had their mouths watering a little bit, and unfortunately just unable to complete the deal.
Yeah, just 1 goal in those 2 games, and that's got to be disappointing to this coaching staff because they felt that, you were trying to turn a corner. They're looking at the possibility 7-8 wins in the conference, and they've got a little work to do.
Well, this week they've got a couple of winnable games on the schedule. Again, they're at St. Paul Highland Park on Tuesday, at Spring Lake Park on Thursday, and at Iredale on Saturday. Spring Lake Park is a beatable team, but a team that has had the Cardinals' number the last couple of seasons. Girls hockey team, what a week for them. They bounced back after a couple of losses, and they did it in a big way. They crushed Armstrong Cooper on Tuesday, 11-0. Mallory Corrigan and Brina Del Castillo each with a goal and 4 assists. Haley Schultz had a hat trick plus a helper. Emma Murphy had 2 goals and an assist as well. 1 goal each for Liz Zarate, Cameron Crawford, Bezcalo, and Haas. They follow that up with a 4-0 win over North Metro. Mallory Corrigan and Brina Del Castillo, goal and an assist each. Zarate and Crawford also scoring in that game. Sammy Miller, 26 saves to get her second straight shutout. And that's the second time this season she has had back-to-back shutouts. Big challenge for them this week, though. They host Totino on Tuesday, and then they are at number 2 ranked Maple Grove on Saturday. To this point in the season, the Crimson have lost 3 times, twice to number 1 ranked Edina, who is undefeated, and once to 4th ranked Hill Murray.
Yeah, it's no doubt a tough matchup, but nice to get those 15 goals in the last 2 games, get their offense moving a little bit coming into this week with a tough schedule.
One more to build a little momentum against Totino, and then they actually played relatively well against Maple Grove the first time around, but they got to have pretty much their best game of the season if they want to try and topple the Crimson.
No question about it. Well, the wrestling team is keeping pace at the top of the conference, meaning their duel with the mighty Anoka Tornadoes could once again be a winner-take-it-all in the Northwest Suburban. Last Friday, the Cardinals able to avenge last year's loss to Centennial by traveling to the Cougars' den and taking care of business. The win means Coon Rapids is a perfect 4-0 against conference opponents, and all have been decisive victories. Centennial got a decision in the first match of the night, but Logan Ratzin starts the turnaround for the Cardinals by turning his opponent over early in the second period. Ratzin get the pins 35 seconds into the second, giving the Cardinals lead they would never give up. Move to the 132-pound. Moise Madimba gets his man in the standing cradle, takes him straight to his back midway through the third period. His pin is the Cardinals' 4th straight, and the win gives them a 19-3 lead. The Cougars won the next 3 to get that lead down to 2, but Spencer Howell makes sure to keep the Cardinals in front by finishing his work in the first period at 160. Pins Isaiah Bettinger in 112, puts the momentum back in the visiting bench. And they run with it. James Super got a major decision at 170, and Jack Scheck just a dominant performance at 182. He goes from the single to the double leg takedown here on his way to a 17-1 tech fall midway through the third. Nick Berg guarantees the win at 195. Great double leg takedowns. You saw right on the edge of the mat. He just keeps working. He slips the half Nelson in right there, drives with his legs to roll his opponent over, gets the first period pin to seal the deal. The Cardinals are going to hold on for the 40-23 win. And Joe, that was a big win for the program, no question.
It was. They were kind of shocked by the loss to Centennial last year.
Yep.
Last year I think they ended with 3 losses in the conference. Definitely didn't sit well with the team that's usually battling for a crown. Big to get revenge there. They still have Elk River in front of them, which is one of the other teams they lost to, I believe. And then, of course, Anoka. Anoka is very, very strong this year.
Really tough.
And that's going to be the last dual meet of the season coming up second week of February. But if they keep wrestling this way, very possibly could be another championship bout between those two. So in addition to the Golden Shoes on the line when they face Anoka, it could be a Northwest Suburban crown as well.
I know we'll be there for that match, and certainly Coach Adams said that Anoka may have their best team in a long time. So it'll be an interesting matchup. I'm glad we're going to get a chance to see it.
Well, the Cardinals were in Stillwater on Saturday for the pony duels, and little disappointing start when they lost to section opponent Cambridge Isani by such a decisive margin, 56-9 the final there. But they bounced back. They beat Matamidi 44-21. And then in the final, a ranked team from Little Falls, they beat 45-29, and it was something like 6 of the first 7 matches Cardinals won. So those lighter weights, which Coach Adams specifically called out at the beginning of the season, they really have been stepping up and doing very, very well all season long. There's some of the finishes from the tournament. Tim Mandyke 2-0 with a pin and a major decision. Svobany and Thomas both 2-1 with a pair of pins. And Will Larson at 138 went 2-1, including a major decision. Cardinals at Blaine on Thursday, then the Eastview Invite on Saturday. Then they actually have a little bit of a break.
They do.
Until the end of the month, I believe, to kind of rest up, get everybody healthy to make that final push. And then early February, they see both Elk River and then Anoka, and those are going to be 2 very big dual meets.
No question.
Gymnastics team competed in a tri-meet last week. Unfortunately, unable to get complete scores. I do know They had their best score since the first match of the year when they lost Hannah Gross for the season with a knee injury. They scored in the 124s, which is very good news. A big improvement over after Gross got hurt. They went down to like the 118s. They got up to 121, now up to 124. So good progress being made. And they did beat Osseo. They did lose to Anoka, but they beat Osseo in that one. So that's their first victory of the year. And I hope to have complete scores for you on that one next week on Sportsnight. At the same time, hopefully we will be able to talk about what they have this week. They're at Champlin Park on Wednesday. Then next week, they're at Irondale. Spring Lake Park, Blaine, and Andover are all supposed to be there as well. So I don't know if that'll be a five-way matchup or, each team will go head to essentially score, and they'll use those scores head-to-head against all the other four. But that's the way it is online. So I'll try and get some clarification on that before next week's show. I forgot to put in the script for swimming. Imagine that. Well, what I can tell you is the swimming and diving team did compete against the Andover Huskies last week on Tuesday. It was the first chance for Coach Doug Donaldson to go back and see some of, or it was a chance for Coach Doug Donaldson to return to face some of his former students, because he was at Andover as an assistant for 3 years before coming here to take on the head coaching job for the Cardinals. Only a few highlights to talk about because we had to get the camera over to the girls' basketball game on Tuesday. But the middle schoolers doing very well. Tyler Schultze, a first-place finish in the 200 free in 2 minutes, 4.33 seconds. And then 8th grader Matt Struess in the 100 IM, a battle right to the wall. He's going to get just out-touched for second place, has to settle for third in 2 minutes, 25.82 seconds. Alex Schmidt, a great race in the splash and dash, the 50 free, and he is going to come up just shy of a blue ribbon, taking second at 24.91 seconds. Andover, a lot of depth on their roster, and the Cardinals just couldn't compete with that depth. They lose that 100 to 78. On Thursday, the Cardinals facing Maple Grove, and the Crimson was a team the Cardinals really felt they would have a good chance to get a victory against. Unfortunately, they had about a half dozen guys on the shelf, including some of their top swimmers with illness, and that definitely affected what they were able to do. On a positive note, Aaron Rossell, a lifetime best in diving, took first place with a 185.90. Tyler Schultze, first place in the 100 breast, second in the 200 IM. Those middle schoolers just tearing stuff up. Matthew Struess, second place in the 50 free and the 100 fly. That's your 7th and 8th graders. Cardinals have very few first place finishes, those two being the only two. Swimming and diving this week, they host Blaine on Thursday. And Howie?
We'll be there.
And then on Saturday is the Section 7 AA True Team meet, again at Northdale Middle School. So should be interesting. And again, Coach Donaldson really hoping to have most of those guys back from illness and able to compete against Blaine.
The illness really has gone through the high schools. I know the basketball team was affected by it as well, but it'll be an opportunity for us to see some of those younger swimmers on Thursday night. It'll be very interesting.
NORDIC ski team, a couple of events last week. On Wednesday, they were at Highland Hills down in Bloomington for a 5K, originally scheduled to be a 7.5. They did trim it back to a 5K. Boys finished 5th place out of the 6 teams there. Paul Breitbach, 4th place overall. Ricky Petroff in 7th. Mitch Zandarowski in 14th. Jared Haida in 16th. And Joe Thoen finished in 22nd place in 21 minutes and 1 second. For the girls' 5th place finish, Abby Ellenbecker, 3rd place overall. Olivia Ellenbecker just 7 seconds and 2 places behind her in 5th. Izzy Haberman finished 17th. Karen was 28th. And Emmons finished in 39th. On Saturday, the Cardinals at the ABC Relays, like 11 teams there for this event. So you have each team putting 2 relays out there. So you got about 22 or 24 total team places. Boys teams, A relay squad finished 3rd place. B finished 14th. A squad was Paul Breitbach and Mitch Zandarowski in the Classic. Jared Haida and Ricky Petrov running freestyle finished 5th and 6th, respectively. For the B squad, it was Thoen and Gilliard in the Classic, finishing 27th and 34th. Nick Jorgensen and Samet finished 24th and 25th in the freestyle. For the girls, they finished 6th place and 14th. Abby Ellenbecker, 5th place overall in the Classic, with Maddie Karen finishing 17th. Olivia Ellenbecker, 4th place overall in the freestyle. Haberman was 14th. And on the B squad, it was Hosick and Emmons finishing 28th and 30th in Classic. Galadriel O'Grady taking 27th place in the freestyle, and Blumberg finishing in 29th. Upcoming this week, they have a 5K skate race at Elm Creek on Thursday, and then next week they have a pursuit, the 5K Classic on Tuesday, the 5K Freestyle on Thursday. Those two will be at Greenhaven Golf Course. Alpine ski team got its 3rd race in on Thursday night last week, and the boys had their best finish since Coach Lauren Erie took over 4 years ago, finishing 6th place with a score of 351. Josh Whelan, a 17th place finish to lead the Cardinals, a combined time of 59.35 seconds. Aaron Caroon was 23rd, Kai Tweedy 39th, Reed Smith 49th, and Grant Smith 63rd. On the girls' side, they finished 7th place. Molly Bolin was 9th place overall, 1 minute, 2.11 seconds. Emma Bolin in 23rd, Verbeek 60th. Bayo was 63rd, and Berg was 66th. And according to the email I received from Coach Erie, very excited for the boys to have that finish, the best since she took over 4 years ago. And very excited also about the potential of the girls as they continue to make strides and get closer to becoming really competitive in those conference meets. Remember, the girls team, I think, only had 3 skiers last year.
I know, I remember that.
So,
and so it's nice to see those kind of strides from both the boys and the girls ski teams.
Well, and just to see them able to field a full team is a great thing to see. But they have race 4 coming up on Thursday at Wild Mountain. Race 5 is next Friday at Trollhagen. On a downside, I know that Josh Whelan took a spill on Saturday and suffered a bit of an injury. Good news is he did not suffer a concussion. Bad news is he was a little banged up. Not sure how long it will be before he is able to rejoin the team. Hopefully, he is able to make a speedy recovery.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. Well, the Cardinals entered. We'll talk a little basketball.
We should.
Yep, the Cardinals.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It's that time.
It is that time. The Cardinals entered last week's play trying to stop their first losing streak of the season. They felt pretty good about their chances against Anoka on Tuesday night. The Tornadoes are always a quality club, but they struggled to start the year, managing just 2 wins in their first 8 games. The Cardinals, with most of the guys back from illness, looking to stop their slide at 2 and get things turned around in front of the home crowd. The key for the Cardinals all season long has been their defense and their team speed, and they use those to their advantage to get out front early. Marcus Rask with the steal, quickly down court. Lionel Warner able to finish at the rim. Then just a minute later, it's Warner getting a hand in the passing lane to get the steal, then finding Marcel Winston driving for the lane. 12-0 run gives Coon Rapids a 10-point lead. But the Tornadoes don't back down. They get a spark off the bench from Isaiah Prouty. Great job following his own miss from the 3 range, getting the bucket to start the Anoka comeback. Prouty again, this time drawing in the defense and finding Josh Larson open for the look for 3. Anoka finishes the half with a 13-point run and have a 27-24 lead. Cardinals trying to get back into what works in the second. Tyrone Johnson reaching in to get the steal. He'll take it the distance, score at the other end. He had 4 steals to go with 18 points and 12 boards. But Anoka just able to find the open looks, get some bounces to go their way. Insane bounce to get that 3-pointer for Caleb Sieben. The biggest hole in the defense was down low. Paul Lombard scores underneath, put Anoka up by 10. Their other big man, Jacob Phipps, had 13 of his 17 in the second half. Anoka extends the Cardinals' skid with a 64-53 win.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Tough. Of course, we were there. Phipps was a big problem for the Cardinals on defense in the second half. They just I'm not sure what it was. Their defense has been key. Their defense was not there in the second half the way it normally is.
Now, the lead was early for the Cardinals, but unfortunately they were not able to protect that, and that's the thing. You let your opponent back into the game, and then some things broke apart for Coon Rapids, and obviously Anoka took advantage of them.
Yeah, and when two players, being Lionel Warner and Tyrion Johnson, do more than 70% of the team scoring, that makes it awfully tough to get victories. Well, the Cardinals looking to regroup and end their slide on Thursday, but an even tougher challenge ahead of them in the Blaine Bengals. Blaine came into the game at 7-3 and had won 5 of their previous 6 games. Bengals were 4-1 against conference opponents, while the Cardinals were 3-2. Blaine was a slight favorite, but if the Cardinals could get back to their early season form, they definitely had a chance to come away with a win. Tight game early. Cardinals trying to get leading scorer Lionel Warner going. Nice move to the baseline to score the easy basket. Cardinals in front by 2. Midway through the first half, Cardinals stretching the lead. Great look by Carver down low to find Marcel Winston underneath. He scores, and Coon Rapids is in front 14-8. Bengals keeping it close through the first. Sam Garrity feeding it low to Curtis Wiegand for the easy basket. Wiegand led all scorers with 23. Game tied at 22 at the half. Warner driving early in the second. His shot is blocked. Bengals turn and run the other way. Byron Bynum finishes the fast break, and Blaine takes the lead. Blaine keeping the pressure on. Devin Nebo left with a wide open look from the wing. Knocks down the 3 to help the Bengals stretch their lead. Can't leave anybody that open. Howie could make that shot. Cardinals looking for the answer at the other end. Warner draws the defense. Finds Winston in the corner for 3. Winston finished with 11 for the Cardinals. Bengals right back with a counter punch. Nebo again, this time from the right corner. All 9 of his points came from beyond the arc. What the heck? Let's show you his third one. It's a big one. Blaine in transition. Nebo steps back, spots up. That one put Bengals up 47-34. They hold on from there. Go on to the 62-55 win.
A tough loss for the Cardinals. You know, giving the Bengals credit, they did a nice job defensively against
Lionel
Warner.
Only 7 points.
7 points. And, you know, their teams are going to figure out if they can limit his production. Certainly, Tyrion Johnson does a nice job scoring. But, as you mentioned, the Cardinals are going to have to find some other guys to fill up the basket.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what they'll learn. That's what they'll figure out how to do. But, again, if team stops your best players, you got to look for other guys to score.
And Marcel Winston stepped up in that game. He had 11 points. Brandon Pratt had 7 points off the bench. But in the end, just not enough against the Bengals. Cardinals losing streak now at 4 games, and they have a tough match in front of them this week. They're at Centennial on Tuesday, and then they host Andover on Friday.
Well, the girls' basketball team also started their week with a matchup against Anoka, traveling to take on the Tornado team on Tuesday that was in a very similar position. The Cardinals were coming off back-to-back losses, while Anoka had lost 2 of their 3 previous 4. Lost 3 of their previous 4. Coon Rapids was 5-7, Anoka 5-6, and the Tornadoes had a half-game edge in the standing with a 1-2 record in the division compared to 0-2 mark for the Cards. This was a chance for the Cardinals to draw even. The Tornadoes take the Cardinals by storm early on. The drive comes up empty, but good recognition as they find Brittany Bongard alone at the top of the key. She hits the 3, and Anoka leads 13-0. Cardinals able to get the offense going later in the first. Kennedy Kerr finding her way to the lane for a basket, but Anoka leads by 17 at that point. Late in the half, Cardinals pushing the pace. Kerr able to slip the pass to Caitlin Hagstrom underneath. She scores, but it's 27-13 Anoka at the half. Nice job getting the bucket there. Tornadoes come out with full court pressure, even with the big lead, and they're able to force the turnover. Noelle Josephson with converted the points at the other end. Anoka's going to be up 32-17 at that point. Coon Rapids struggling to keep pace. Courtney Ackerman into Caitlin Ackerman. She drives and scores, plus the foul, but Anoka lead is over 20. They're able to put in cruise control from there. Bongard scoring underneath, part of her game-high 17, as Anoka runs away with the 55-35 win.
Yeah, and it's been just an up-and-down season for the girls' basketball team. They win one, they lose one. They win one, they lose one. Lost a couple in hoping to get it righted against Anoka. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I think it's not as concerning that they lost to the Tornadoes, but the manner in which they did so and by the margin that they did. Good news is the girls were able to get their streak stopped by beating the Blaine Bengals. You may remember they came up with a huge upset in the playoffs over the Bengals last year. Blaine, not quite the same team they had last year. They're struggling a little bit. Cardinals made sure to keep them down with the 63-49 win. Cardinals record now at 5-6, 1-2 overall. And they host Centennial on Tuesday. Howie?
We'll be there!
And then they're at Andover on Friday. Both teams are teams the Cardinals have had some troubles with the last few years, but the girls team, really both boys and girls basketball teams competing at a higher level this year than they have in the last few. And I really think good things can happen over the next couple of weeks heading into the tournament.
No question about it. Nice for the Cardinals girls basketball program to get that win at home over Blaine. Tomorrow night with Centennial, number 7 team in the polls. It's going to be a tough chore for them, but I think if they come out and they play their best game, they have an opportunity to beat the Cougars.
Well, and defense is key, I think, for both of these teams. We've seen both of these teams become really successful by being strong on defense, turning that to offense. And maybe this is, obviously I haven't been at every game to watch every game and analyze it exactly, but it seems when both of these teams get in trouble is when they start to get a little bit anxious about being behind.
Right.
They start to force things a little bit, not waiting for the open shot. Certain players maybe trying to take on too much rather than find the open look and take their time to find the open look. When they settle down, both teams seem to play a little bit better.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it. And tomorrow night turnovers are going to be very important for the Cardinals. They're going to have to limit the opportunities that they give to Centennial. They play their game and they play good defense, which they have been playing pretty good defense. They have that opportunity.
Well, we will be there, as you mentioned, to see them tip off against the Centennial Cougars. Live coverage starts at 7 o'clock. On Thursday, it's the battle for supremacy at the Northdale Middle School pool as the Cardinals take on the Bengals. Live coverage starts at 6. We see boys basketball team again next Tuesday when they take on the Eagles from Totino Grays. But that is going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us, continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including the return of Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young saying good night.